Look, I got it.
How'd you do it?
Invited my cooking partners to the party so they wouldn't eat it in class.
So we eat tomorrow night. But what about men?
Hi. The one on the left is me. Is I? Anyway, I'm Sally. Let me tell you the problem. Faith and I decided to give a little party tomorrow night. You know, some food and a few records. And, well, everyone accepted. Everyone except the two reasons why we decided to give the party in the first place. Namely, Bill and Frank. They're going bowling. Obviously, we have to change their minds, and in a hurry. If we don't trap them before they get off the school grounds, all's lost. I mean, you can't call a boy at home, can you? Say, I wonder if there's anything to this way to a man's heart business. Maybe I should give this to Bill.
I'd like to give it to Frank. You know where.
Come on, one last try.
Turn on the charm. Here they come.
Ah, TGIF. They're the girls. Now, don't you weaken.
Me? I'm a man of resolve. We bowl tomorrow night.
You bet we do.
Bill. Bill, I won't beat around the bush. I'm here to bribe you to our party with this delicious lemon cake.
Which is just a sample of tomorrow night's groovy menu. Look at all these recipes.
I don't bribe. I do bowl. And I don't like lemon cake.
Okay, so starve this weekend. What, with your mother away?
I cook okay. I'll get along.
Men are awful cooks.
Oh, the worst.
All the famous chefs are men.
His next cliche will be, if you can read, you can cook. Men love that.
Bill, don't bite.
Well, it's true. If you can read, you can cook.
Well, that leaves you out, Frank.
The rest was easy. Soon even Frank was poo-pooing cooking and protecting manhood. Finally, we suggested they put up or shut up, and the bet was on. We'd each cook identical menus for the party and find a judge. They balked a bit, but we convinced them they had nothing to lose. And if we lost, we'd pay for their bowling next Saturday night. To top it off, we let them pick the menu.
Choose your weapons.
Pan-fried chicken.
Super-duper biscuits and all-American apple pie.
Fried chicken, biscuits, and pie it is. Party's at 7.
Okay.
A man of resolve.
3/4 cup sugar.
Sugar.
6 medium cooking apples.
6 medium apples.
Cinnamon.
Have that. Plenty of sugar and flour, too.
Okay. Oh, and we need some shortening or butter or lard or something for the crust and biscuits.
Use shortening. Oh, say, I'm almost out. Buy some.
Oh, well, we're okay there, Mom. We can use some of this oil instead.
No, Sally. For salads, that's fine. For your job, you stick to solid vegetable shortening.
Well, why, when we have this?
Well, for one thing, the recipe calls for it. If you start substituting, your pie crust might not be as tender and flaky as you'd like. And it's all-purpose.
And because you've used it since you were a blushing bride.
Well, it does look white and creamy.
It is creamy. It blends beautifully, which makes your dough so easy to work with.
All purpose. Then we can fry the chicken in it, too.
You bet. A good vegetable shortening doesn't have any taste of its own, so you can be sure your fried chicken won't taste greasy.
Sold. Greasy chicken is not on the menu.
Okay, now we've listed chicken and milk. That's it. Let's make like shoppers.
Say, maybe we should shop for the boys. Since Bill's mother's away, I mean, to be fair.
Well, who wants to be fair?
Ingredients lined up, utensils ready.
Let's start with the pie crust.
Okay.
Bye, hon.
Bye.
Now cook up a storm, girls.
Okay, Dad.
Looks like a good start.
Incidentally, Dad, you've been named the impartial judge in our cooking contest.
Impartial, but I'm your father.
But the boys accepted you anyway, since you're also a man.
Logical, I guess. So long.
Okay, pie crust. What's first?
2 cups of sifted flour.
This says it's pre-sifted.
Sift it anyway. Even pre-sifted flour packs down in storage.
So?
Sifting unpacks the flour and adds air, so you get the same amount every time you measure. And always sift just before you measure.
And besides, these are tested recipes, and we agreed to follow them. It says sift, so sift.
I'm sifting.
Next, measure 2 cups. Spoon sifted flour into measuring cup without shaking or packing down. Level off top with spatula. Combine the flour with 1 teaspoon of salt.
1 teaspoon.
There. Now add 3/4 cup shortening. Do not use a liquid measuring cup, as you cannot level off shortening. Scoop from can to cup with scraper. Press into cup firmly. Level off. Level she is.
1/4 cup. Now for the 1/2 cup. And that does it.
There. With a pastry blender or 2 knives, cut in shortening until uniform.
Oh, if you dip the blender in the flour first, Sally, the shortening won't stick to the blender blades.
Okay. Says mixture should be fairly coarse.
Why don't you start with the apple pie filling while I do this?
Okay.
How many cups?
2 cups of flour and a teaspoon of salt. Say, Bill, this biscuit recipe is almost the same as the pie crust. Why not make them both at the same time? Save sweat.
Good idea. Male efficiency.
Shortening's next. Where do you hide it?
Who knows? Hey, this'll do.
Oh.
How much?
3/4 of a cup for the pie crust, 1/3 cup for the biscuits. Say, that's oil, not shortening.
What's the difference? They're all fats. Lard, butter, margarine, oil.
It says shortening.
Same thing.
3 teaspoons of baking powder for the biscuits, none for the pie. It's that added little touch that makes a great chef.
Hey, which one has a baking powder?
The one that will rise. Hopefully the biscuits.
This is a pie crust. I'm sure of it. Form that into a dough ball while I get the stuff to roll it.
Hey, Bill. Getting a little bowling in after all. Next, you're supposed to flour the board.
Yes, sirree. Wherever you are this beautiful Saturday afternoon, I hope you're having fun. F-U-N. Yes, sirree. I hope you're having fun.
Well, he was right. The afternoon had been fun. And we had something to show for it. The biscuits and the pie were ready for the oven. Since we were serving the pie cold, we could bake it ahead of time, 400 degrees in a preheated oven, about 30 to 40 minutes. To tell you the truth, it had been a cinch. We'd followed a tested method and the recipes step by step. For the pie crust, after mixing in the water a spoonful at a time, we worked the dough into a firm ball by hand, then divided it in 2, one for the top crust, one for the bottom. We were careful not to overflour the pastry cloth on the board so we wouldn't add excess flour to our mixture, just enough so the dough didn't stick or tear. The bottom crust was first. We rolled the dough from the center to the outside, evenly until we had the right uniform thickness. Finally, the dough was about 1½ inches larger than our pie plate. We then eased the dough into a 9-inch pie plate, as the recipe called for. Then we trimmed the edges even with the plate and added the apple filling, dotted with butter, and moistened the rim of the bottom crust with water. After rolling the top crust, on the pie it went. And we trimmed it 1/2 inch beyond the edge of the plate so we could fold the top edge under the bottom crust to seal the edges so the juices wouldn't escape. The moistened rim helped make this seal tight. Faith, the artist, made the fanciest fluted edge, the way we learned in food class. Then I made an artistic A design to to identify the pie as apple and to let the apple juices escape without blowing up the pie. That was it. The biscuits were just as easy. After measuring the sifted flour, we added the salt and the baking powder to make the biscuits light, and we cut in the shortening until the mixture looked like coarse meal. Then we blended in the milk and kneaded the dough lightly about 10 times. Then rolled it a ½ inch thick. We used a floured biscuit cutter next and put them one by one on an ungreased baking sheet. We separated them because we wanted crust all the way around. They'll only take about 15 minutes, so we'll put them in after the party starts. Meantime, a piece of wax paper and refrigeration will keep them from drying out.
Now to dip the very last beautiful piece of chicken in the milk. Shake it all up with the flour, salt, and pepper. And voila! All ready for frying.
I'll put this right here by the fry pan so we don't goof tonight with all the excitement. There.
How's the pie?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Good. That's worth 15%. Come here, look. You're the judge. Uniform brown crust with attractively finished edge, 15%. Medium thin and crisp crust, 10%.
We better give that to Dad. He's the judge.
Well, I better go do some with my hair. Or I won't get 15% for an attractively finished edge.
I wonder how the boys are doing.
Yeah, it's getting late. I just hope they've started.
Did we do all this in an hour?
It wasn't easy.
Hey, give me that fork so I can flip this flippin' pie, will you?
Fork. Bill, I think we should have stuck a little closer to the recipes.
Oh, now he tells me. Yeah, put the pie and the biscuits into the oven, will you? I'll start frying the chicken.
Yeah. The oven isn't preheated.
Add the temperature on to the other end.
What temperature does it say?
It says 400 degrees for the pie, 425 for the biscuits. Make it 412 and a half.
412 and a half.
Think of giving tranquilizers instead of chicken. Your boy still not here?
Not yet.
That smells good. You wouldn't give your old father a sample, would you?
You're not my father. You are the judge. Out.
Oh, Sally, I don't think you're supposed to cover that.
After browning chicken in 1½ to 2 cups of shortening for 10 to 15 minutes, cover, reduce to low heat. Unquote. We want it tender, don't we?
Well, is there enough shortening in there? You don't want it to stick to the pan.
Never add shortening after you've started frying, Faith. It lowers the temperature and prevents crisping.
There. 25 minutes more and we eat.
If you want it really crisp, remove the cover the last 10 minutes.
What's that for? A crying towel for your father after he tastes the boy's food?
Paper towels to drain the chicken on. As if you didn't know. Say, maybe I should walk over to Bill's. I mean, well, they may need help. Traitor.
You said you'd watch it while I got dressed.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have listened.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have listened either when you told me which dough had the baking powder in it.
Me? You were the one who was so all-fired sure. You were the one who was such a big hurry, not me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and I'm the one who can read, but didn't.
I think I'm going on a diet. Tonight.
Hey! The party's jumping. The judge waits.
I know. My folks will be home tomorrow. So who needs sleep?
Come on, let's go. We're all hungry.
Here goes nothing.
I can't even gloat. It all looks so awful. And that's the only 12-inch, 9-inch pie I've ever seen.
And the floppiest, too. Oh, I'll take it in. Be right back.
All right, everybody. Now, don't tell me which end is whose, because I want to be fair.
Don't look.
Cut it, all right. Biscuits, crisp. Pie, yes, apple. Crisp, juicy. Flaky, very light. Nice crust. Tender. Delicious. This end wins, hands down. Now, whose side was it?
It's the boys! The boys!
The boys!
Come on. We didn't win. Our stuff looks awful. Yours is great.
Nonetheless, you won. You know how you men stick together.
Well, I'll admit you're prettier than any male chef I've ever seen.
For that, I'll help you with the dishes.
Dance?
In a minute, okay?
Okay.
You are really too much. First you let them win, and then you let them trap you into doing his dishes with that phony compliment.
Trap? So who's bowling?
But we're gonna have to pay for their bowling next Saturday night.
And who's gonna have to go along with them so we can pay? So, who won and who lost? You're the judge.
Sally,